Good morning from a stunned market. Last night, the world changed. The US Special Forces raid in Caracas, what they are calling Operation Starfall, has removed Nicolás Maduro from power. While the global news networks are obsessing over the politics, we need to obsess over the plumbing. I am making this specific deep dive free for everyone. For one simple reason, the herd is about to panic buy oil on war fears, but the smart money is already positioning for the inevitable supply flood. At the Investing Iguana, our promise is simple. We don't wait for the mainstream media to tell you how this affects your CPF or your SGX portfolio. We do the first-hand analysis immediately. While everyone else looks at the headlines, we are looking at the order books. I'm Iggy, your Singapore-based private investor and market researcher. Since October 2025, we've built a community of over 5,300 investors and produced over 1,300 videos. We are home to a growing inner circle of over 100 paid members. Usually, this level of analysis is reserved for them. But today, the stakes are too high for you to be flying blind. If you find value in this, the YouTube membership at $9 a month is the best way to support the channel and get these updates daily. But for now, let's put the politics aside and dive into the raw audit of what this regime change means for Seatrium, Singapore Airlines, and your money. The narrative on the street this morning is incredibly seductive. The WhatsApp groups are buzzing. They are saying that with Maduro gone, the US will rebuild Venezuela. They are saying billions of dollars are about to flow into oil infrastructure and that Singapore's offshore marine sector is about to party like it is 2011 all over again. But I need you to stop. Take a breath. Because if you look at the raw institutional data, that narrative is a trap. While the media is focused on the special forces and the extraction, the financial reality for your portfolio is being driven by something far more boring and far more dangerous. It is driven by time lags and supply gluts. Today, I'm going to show you why the smart money is actually rotating away from the shipyards and into a hidden winner in the transportation sector. Let's start with the biggest trap currently being laid for retail investors: the infrastructure rebuild timeline. The bull case for stocks like Seatrium and Keppel is simple. The logic goes that Venezuela needs to spend billions to fix its broken oil fields. And this is true. The infrastructure is crumbling. But the timing is where retail investors get burned and institutional investors make their money. We have estimates for the rebuild cost ranging from $10 billion to $58 billion. But let's look at the disparity in the timelines. The official state estimates say it will take 10 years to recover. Goldman Sachs says 5 to 7 years. Even the most optimistic opposition team says 3 to 4 years. Now let's define why this matters. We call this stage gate deployment. In the world of heavy engineering and capital expenditure, money does not get released all at once. It is not like a renovation loan where you get a lump sum. A stage gate process means you have to finish stage 1 and prove it works before a single dollar is released for stage 2. Stage 1 is emergency repairs. We are looking at the years 2026 and 2027. This involves fixing pumps, tightening valves, and repairing compression plants. This is low-margin, gritty work. It is often done by local crews on the ground or the US service majors like Halliburton or Schlumberger. They are not calling a Singaporean shipyard to build a massive floating platform for this. Stage 2, drilling new wells, does not happen until 2027 to 2029. Stage 3, the heavy infrastructure like FPSOs and platforms, the stuff Seatrium builds, that is a 2030 story. So here's the implication for you as a Singaporean investor. The market is pricing Seatrium today in early 2026 as if they are getting a massive contract tomorrow. But the reality is, even if the new government tenders a contract late this year, steel does not get cut until 2027. The revenue does not hit the books until 2028. If you are a retiree relying on dividends or capital appreciation this year, you are buying a 2030 earnings story at a 2026 hype price. That is a mismatch that usually leads to a correction. You are paying for growth that is literally 4 years away. Ask yourself, is your capital patient enough to wait 4 years for a payout while inflation eats away at your purchasing power? Now, let's look at the second major factor, the oil price paradox. There is an uncomfortable truth that people are ignoring in the heat of the moment. If Venezuelan oil comes back online, even slowly, it is a supply addition to an already oversupplied market. The law of supply and demand is undefeated. If you add more supply to a market where demand is flat, prices must fall. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan are both forecasting a bearish 2026 for oil prices. Goldman sees Brent crude averaging $56 a barrel. JP Morgan sees it averaging $61, potentially dipping below 60 by year end. Now let's define what bearish means in this context. It does not just mean the price goes down. It means the entire ecosystem of spending changes. When oil is at $80, oil companies feel rich. They spend money on exploration. They hire ships. They drill holes in the ground just to see what is there. This is called CapEx, or capital expenditure. But if oil drops to the $50 to $60 range, global exploration and production companies, the guys who hire the shipyards, they slash their CapEx budgets. They go into survival mode. They stop exploring. They stop building new platforms. So here is the so what for your portfolio. If oil prices drop because of this new Venezuelan supply, it hurts the offshore marine sector more than a few contracts can help it. The macro tide is going out. A rising tide lifts all boats, but a falling tide grounds them. We are looking at a falling tide environment for energy services. However, where there is crisis, there is opportunity. While the market chases the crowded energy trade, the real beneficiary of Operation Starfall is sitting quietly in the transportation sector. I'm talking about Singapore Airlines, ticker C6L. While everyone is looking at the oil producers, you should be looking at the oil consumers. The thesis here is simple math. Jet fuel is Singapore Airlines' single biggest expense. It eats up a huge chunk of their revenue. As oil prices drop due to this global glut, which is now exacerbated by the potential of Venezuelan supply returning, SIA's profit margins expand. Let's break down the math from the first half of 2025 to see why this is so powerful. SIA hedges about 40% of its fuel. Let's define hedging. Hedging is like buying insurance. You agree to buy fuel at a fixed price in the future, regardless of what the market does. It protects you if prices skyrocket, but it locks you in if prices crash. And this is the key, 60% of their fuel bill is exposed to spot prices. Spot price is the price you pay today, right now at the market rate. If Brent crude averages $60 per barrel, as per the Goldman consensus, compared to the much higher levels we saw in 2024 and 2025, SIA enjoys immediate cost savings on that unhedged 60%. We are looking at a potential 200 to 300 basis point margin expansion for SIA in late 2026. Let's pause and translate that into English. A basis point is 1/100%. 200 basis points is 2%. That sounds small, right? But when your revenue is in the billions, a 2% increase in pure profit margin is massive. It flows straight to the bottom line. It becomes dividends. The market is currently worried about passenger yields dropping. They saw yields drop 9% in the first half of 2025 and they got scared. But a 20% drop in fuel costs acts as a massive buffer. It cancels out the yield drop. This is the boring trade that pays dividends while everyone else is gambling on oil futures. I didn't just guess at these numbers. I checked the Investing Pro models and the algorithmic fair value pegs Singapore Airlines at a level that suggests the downside is limited, supported by its balance sheet. I also looked at the financial health score. If you want to run these numbers on your own portfolio and stop guessing, I've arranged a special New Year deal for you on Investing Pro. Use the link below with code investing in Iguana for 55% off. It is the only way to see the real fair value before the market moves. Now let's address the fear. A common fear I hear in the comments is about the banks. People ask me, Iggy, if oil prices crash to $50, will DBS, OCBC, and UOB suffer massive defaults like they did in 2016? If you remember 2016, it was a bloodbath. The oil and gas companies couldn't pay their debts, and the banks had to write off billions. It was painful, but the verdict today is a clear no. The Singapore banks have aggressively de-risked their oil and gas books over the last decade. In 2016, DBS had about 22 billion Singapore dollars in oil and gas exposure. That was a huge chunk of their loan book. Today, in 2025, the exposure is dramatically lower. Stress tests show that even with oil at $20 a barrel, which is an apocalyptic scenario, DBS projected losses would be roughly $150 to $200 million. Now, 200 million sounds like a lot of money to you and me. But for a bank earning record profits in the billions, it is a drop in the ocean. It is a rounding error. So the implication for you is simple. There is no contagion risk here. If oil crashes, your bank stocks are safe. You do not need to panic sell your DBS shares. They are a safe harbor. However, there are sectors that are not safe. Let's talk about the bearish case. If you hold shipping trusts or small exploration and production players, you need to be very, very careful. First, let's look at tankers. Tanker rates are currently elevated. Why? Because of inefficiencies. Sanctions force ships to take longer, weird routes to avoid detection or to comply with laws. A longer route means the ship is tied up for longer, which reduces the supply of ships, which drives up the price. But if sanctions on Venezuela drop, which is likely the next step after Operation Starfall, supply chains become efficient again. Ships can take direct routes. Shorter routes mean ships become available faster. Suddenly, you have too many ships and not enough cargo. Combined with an oil glut, tanker rates could compress 30 to 40% by the fourth quarter of 2026. If you are holding a shipping trust for the dividend, that dividend is at risk. Second, the upstream players. Companies like Hibiscus Petroleum. These companies live and die by the oil price. They sell the oil. If the price of their product drops to $55, their margins get crushed. It threatens their ability to pay dividends. This is not the time to be a hero in the small cap oil space. Finally, let's talk about Seatrium, ticker 5E2. I know many of you love this stock. It is a retail favorite. I want to be clear. I am not bearish on the company itself, but I'm bearish on the Operation Starfall catalyst. Seatrium is currently executing a massive order book worth over $4 billion. They are building platforms for Petrobras in Brazil and wind projects for Tenati. They are busy, their yachts are full, they do not need Venezuela yet. I checked the Investing Pro models for Seatrium as well. Specifically, I looked at the financial health score. When you are looking at a turnaround play like Seatrium, you have to watch the cash flow. Turnarounds often burn cash before they make cash. If the financial health score on Investing Pro is below 2.5, it is a warning sign. Yeah? It signals that despite the massive order book, cash flow management remains tight. It means they are spending money faster than they are collecting it. Again, if you want to check that score yourself, use the code INVESTINGIGUANA for that 55% off. Don't fly blind. My analysis suggests that the upside for Seatrium is a 2027 story, not a Q1 2026 story. The stock might drift sideways or even dip as the Venezuela hype fades and reality sets in. So what is the playbook? How do we position ourselves for this post-Maduro world? We do not trade headlines, we trade value. Here's my action plan. Number one, accumulate Singapore Airlines. If the stock dips on general market volatility, buy the yield. The lower oil price environment, with Brent between $55 and $60, is the macro tailwind they need to defend their dividend. You are buying a company that gets a pay raise when oil falls. Number two, hold but do not chase Seatrium. If you're already in, stay in for the Brazil and wind story. That is a solid thesis. But do not add fresh capital today expecting a Venezuela pop in 2026. That pop is not coming. Save your bullets. Number three, avoid tankers. The supply chain efficiency argument suggests rates have peaked. The easy money has been made. Rotate that capital out of shipping and into the banks like DBS or UOB for safety. And number four, watch the calendar. The real contracts for Venezuela won't be signed until the US defines the sanctions framework. This will likely take until the third quarter of 2026. Keep your powder dry until then. Cash is an option, and right now, patience pays. Thanks for listening. I made this deep dive free because I wanted to make sure you didn't fall for the hype trap. If you want the full deep dive with all the charts and the exact entry prices, make sure you check out the Substack or join the YouTube membership. I will see you in the next analysis.